Businesses where people will discover your company. Digital Network Advertising, DNA, a novel way to be seen and remembered. Digital Network Advertising with networks in Redlands and Yucaipa. Call in the 909 area 222-9293 for introductory pricing. That's 909-222-9293 for Digital Network Advertising. One last time, Digital Network Advertising, 909-222-9293.
KCAA.
KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, 102.3 FM, and KQLH 92.5 LPFM in Yucaipa. I'm Mark Westwood.
And I'm Andrew Caravella.
And I'm Nick Lane.
And we're all here reporting the election results. We've been reporting the national results. And just now, just a few minutes ago, the polls closed in California. And now, just 5 minutes after 8 o'clock, we got the election results.
We have some numbers.
Some numbers.
Not all,
but some numbers. And now, remember that the results also are on the Secretary of State's website.
Right.
And if you see something like this kind of Gavin Newsom losing to John Cox
because
here in Seminole County, it's different at the Secretary of State's website. But it's going to be hard to report that. So we're going to, first at this break, go to the local results as much as possible.
Right.
And so that we can put those all together, because it is a very interesting how it changes.
Absolutely.
From one county to another, but it's the collective in the state that makes the difference in the statewide offices. But first of all, we can look at...
let's look at Paul Cook and Tim Donnelly.
Paul Cook and Tim Donnelly. And
looks like Paul is taking the lead so far.
And this is all, it's not all. There's 3 counties here.
Yep.
So we have to look at the Secretary of State's website as well.
Right.
But pretty substantially, as expected, 61 to 38% Paul Cook beating in San Bernardino County. We're just going to report the San Bernardino County results here. Paul Cook against Tim Donnelly. As we recap those in the California Secretary of State's website, because there are some offices that also are in, Los Angeles, or in this particular case, Inyo and Kern counties.
Mm-hmm.
The 8th Congressional District is a huge district that's bigger than most states. In the 27th District, Judy Chu is easily doubling the votes in San Bernardino County, at least, of Brian Witt. But that doesn't mean that that's the same way in Los Angeles County, where mostly. But in the 31st Congressional District, this is all San Bernardino County, and it is tonight all Pete Aguilar, 26,000 to 22,000, with about 53% of the vote to 46%. And the total absentee votes have been counted, but yet there's only 13 of 604 precincts reporting. So that's going to go on for a little while, but it looks like that trend is very easily in Pete Aguilar's favor, which, by the way, in previous races, Pete had to sweat it out a lot. Pete had to sweat it out a lot in his first 2 races and then in the last primary race, but this one seems to be pretty definitive at the moment. Also, Norma Torres in the 35th District.
Yep.
And would you like to report about our lotto winner, Gil Cisneros?
Oh, yeah. Well, Gil's not doing so good. Young Kim is, the Republican, is beating him right now. Just not by too much. Just about 6. Oh, no. Sorry, I can't do math. I'm a millennial. About 11%. About 11%.
Get your iPhone out.
Yeah.
Okay. And then out in the state, Senate District 16, Shannon Grove looks like she's just about doubling Ruth Musser Lopez, who's the Democrat out there in Needles and in that area along the Colorado River. And would you like to report about District 20?
District 20, Connie Leva, 23,000, 60% of the vote to the 39% of Matthew Munson.
And that's one of those all San Bernardino County districts as well, District 20.
I'll do 33.
Okay.
Jay Obernolte is winning against Socorro Cisneros.
Pretty much trouncing her.
Yeah.
And that is another assembly district that is all San Bernardino County.
Yep.
That early trend is right now.
That's all like the high desert going up to Needles area.
Yes.
All of that
And
area.
you're from that area.
I am from that area. I've interviewed Jay on a number of occasions. So I don't know. He's a nice guy.
He's the incumbent. He's
Yeah.
a Republican. And that's a Republican area. It's a highly district Republican district. Out in another district, in District 36, which is back and forth between Democrat and Republican. Pretty close registration out there, but it looks like the current incumbent,
Yeah.
whose name is Tom Lackey,
Yeah.
or Lakey, I believe it's Lackey, against Steve Fox, who was a previous state assembly member out in that area too. And not
District 40.
surprising. Yes.
District 40 Ramos is taking the lead there.
Yes, and that was expected. It was already declared a safe district once James entered the race. He gathers a lot of Republican and Democrat votes. He was the former tribe chair of the San Manuel Bishan Indians, and also from the local area, San Bernardino Valley College graduate, San Bernardino, Cal State San Bernardino graduate, and he's from the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, and has currently, I think, served 2, maybe 3 terms as county supervisor in the 5th district.
Yeah.
So that looks like pretty much that's going to be a James Ramos story out there.
Interesting. District 41, Alan Reynolds is beating out Chris Holden right now.
And that's a no-party preference. However, again, that's a district that's just a little sliver in San Bernardino County, so we'll have to go to the state for that. In the 42nd district, kind of as expected, but it wasn't definitive. Chad Mays in District 42 has a portion of Yucaipa and Yucca Valley in San Bernardino County, and then the rest of the district is in Riverside County, so we'll have to look at Riverside County for that. It's District 42, Chad Mays winning by 8,400 votes to 4,300 votes approximately. So that is that way in San Bernardino County. Again, we're going to have to take a break and get all this at the Secretary of State's website. Eloise Reyes.
I lost my you just keep going.
Eloise, I'm trying to let you in here. Eloise Reyes is an uncontested candidate, a Democrat running in the 47th district, which kind of represents Grand Terrace, Rialto, portions of Redlands, and San Bernardino. And she is handily winning with almost 100% of the votes right now because she's the only person on the ballot. Freddie Rodriguez is outdistancing in District 52, member of the State Assembly, another multiple county state assembly district, Los Angeles County and San Bernardino County. And then out in District 55, just a little sliver of Chino and Chino Hills in San Bernardino County. Philip Chen, the Republican, is outdistancing Greg Fritchell, the Democrat. So we're seeing those votes coming in. I want to look at some interesting votes down here in Yucaipa, and I'm going to get to that in just a moment here. Superintendent of Public Instruction will be voting, reporting in just a little bit. County San Bernardino Board of Education Area B, Sherman Garnett is ousting or easily outdistancing Rita Fernandez Loof. And in that race, he is the Democrat, but it's a nonpartisan race. Hardy Brown is winning against Luz Garcia. And going down further, I've got to check off some more areas out here on the website here so I can get to those races. So apparently sometimes the best laid plans go asunder. And I think what we'll do right now...
I'm trying to look at Riverside County, but for some reason, nothing is coming in. And I went through the Secretary of State website, and it's directed me towards here. So not sure what's happening out there.
Well, Carrie Virgil probably hasn't released the results yet. I don't know what that's about. We'll find out more about that in just a little bit. I think, Andrew, while you were researching, and I'm going to do some research here, and we literally, just as we got on the air, got the results, and we have to, kind of tally all the hosts and process a minute to report it to you. So we're going to go to our national network, NBC, and hear more about our national elections. I'm Mark Westwood on KCAA, 1050 AM. Andrew Caravella on 106.5 FM. Nick Lane on 102.3 FM. and all of us together on 92.5 KQLH with his first election night coverage ever. We'll be back in just a few moments with some more local results.
Will play out, but you never know what the people, when they go in the voting booth, how they're going to weigh all those things. They're by themselves in there. Some things may matter. The economy may matter. The dislike of Trump may matter. But that's the mystery of elections.
Glad you mentioned the voter booth. You gave me a perfect segue, Doris, because NBC's Jacob Soboroff is talking to voters still on long lines in Santa Ana, California, 8:15 in the West, and people are still voting there, Jacob.
Can you believe that, Savannah? So polls closed 15 minutes ago. Chuck mentioned, Democrats could take up to 40 seats. If they take that many seats, almost undoubtedly it will include 4 seats right here in Orange County, California. This line is still about 3 hours long, despite the fact that polls closed 15 minutes ago. People here don't care whether or not the House of Representatives were called. They care about the local races here. They care about potentially driving up that margin in the House of Representatives, at least those that are here on the Democratic side from those 4 House districts. And they care about issues, as you and I have talked a lot about, that are local to them here. They talk about how the economy is not as strong as Donald Trump wants everybody to believe. They talk about the separation of the children down on the border. They talk about, particularly here in Orange County, out on the coast where Dana Rohrabacher has been a longtime congressman, about climate change and offshore oil drilling. All of these things matter deeply and individually to the people that are here in Southern California, and you can see it in the line. I mean, the idea that there's still a 3-hour-long line after the polls have closed, people are staying on that line. It's not that it is unexpected, but it's admirable, I guess. This is a time when people in midterm elections want to spend hours online in order to get in there after the polls have closed, after the East Coast and the central part of the country have already made up their minds. And again, as Chuck Todd said, it could go a long way to driving up that margin in the House of Representatives.
All right. Jacob, thank you so much.
I want to go over to Steve Patterson now. He's covering the Nevada Senate race and gives us a lay of the land there. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Lester, it's the same situation in Nevada that we just saw in California. Lines out the door at polling places. We just left a mall in Henderson, Nevada. Lines were just snaking through the entire mall. You could barely see where the line started and the next line ended. That is good news for Democrats because of this, because Clark County is where they're looking to build up votes, building up a so-called firewall or a buffer, so when these other counties start coming in, that they have a significant amount of votes to sort of stave off Republicans in other counties. It's a battle of territories in Nevada. Clark County, the largest county, about 70% of the electorate mostly goes Democrat, so they look for that. And then the surrounding counties, like Washoe County, where Reno is, typically go Republican. Republicans are polling great there tonight. And also you have to worry about those other counties, those insurgent counties across Nevada that tend to have the most amount of Trump supporters. So that's what Democrats are looking at tonight. Looking at the lines in Clark County, they must be feeling emboldened, but the night is young. Speaking to both of the campaigns, the phrase is cautiously optimistic as we go on through the night. Back to you.
All right, Steve Patterson, thanks very much.
And the president has tweeted, he has written tonight, tremendous success tonight. Thank you to all. So he is glass half full. He's clearly talking about the Senate, where the Republicans retain control and then some, picking up seats. But the House, as we know, is going to the Democrats. And Hallie Jackson's at the White House. Hallie, what are you hearing?
Savannah, 7 short words from President Trump coming, as they so often do, on Twitter. That is the first reaction that we have heard from the president tonight as the returns have come rolling in. He is with the First Lady here at the White House, along with dozens of friends, allies, family members, other supporters. And what we're hearing is much of that optimism when it comes to the Senate side, at least. There is a sense, and I've been in touch now with folks who are part of that sort of war room and that operation for President Trump, saying, listen, in the final days, they say they poured their energies into places like Indiana, like, for example, Missouri, still outstanding, places like Florida, where Ron DeSantis is, of course, and they feel like that paid off, even though it came at the expense of the president spending times in states like perhaps Michigan or Minnesota or some of these other places to try to boost some House races there. That said, the president clearly feeling good, even though he now faces something that he has not had to face yet, which is an oppositional party in one chamber of Congress. The onslaught of subpoenas that will inevitably come from Democrats who are eager for oversight. That is something this president has not had to face. He likes a fight. He likes an opponent. But with that is going to come a lot of challenges for the West Wing, and folks inside are bracing for that. I will also tell you that there are people inside the White House who feel like there wasn't the wave that they expected. That is part of the optimism for them, and they're keeping an eye on who ends up coming out on top when it comes to that leadership race on the side of Democrats. As for the president's agenda, we've talked about what this means for example, judicial nominations, for personnel. But keep in mind where he and his administration want to build bridges. Issues like infrastructure, issues like trade. You've already heard that being discussed down the road when it comes to this split Congress over the next couple of years, guys.
All right, Hallie Jackson setting the scene for us from the White House. Thanks very much. We're going to continue our coverage of the 2018 election here on NBC right after this.
KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 and 102.3 FM. Mark Westwood with Andrew Caravella.
Yes.
And Nick.
Nick, say hello, because we keep cutting you off.
Nick Lane.
Hello.
That's all you
I'm
get.
here. I'm alive.
Yeah.
Well, we're seeking local election results in Yucaipa. We can report on our first race in Yucaipa, the Yucaipa Joint Unified School District. Patty Ingram is easily defeating Randall Dean Olson, 1,020 to 491 votes. Not big elections, but still substantive elections. Lots of votes out in Yucaipa.
Is that a good thing? Patty's winning?
Patty is the current incumbent and is a favored person out there.
So she's doing a good job?
You know what? Don't ask me and put that question on there. I don't know much about that. So anyway, so I hit Andrew. I actually am trying to remain kind of, I know Patty, so I'm trying not, I don't know the other person, so I'm just trying to remain journalistic. Thank you very, very much.
I am trying to test you.
This is not a campaign any longer. Out in Fontana, there's two people being elected out there, possibly three, and it looks like Adam Perez, Mary Sandoval, who's the wife of Jesse Sandoval, who's running for mayor of Fontana, and is also, Jesse is currently on the Fontana City Council, and Mars Cerna are leading there. Out in Colton, we have Dan Flores and Bernice Sandoval leading. We're seeing in the Colton Joint Unified School District a young gentleman, I'd say still young, I think he's still young, who has been running for a long time and wanting to win a race. We're seeing Randall Cisneros gliding into the Colton's Unified School District Area 1 to be elected there. So congratulations to Randall. So maybe I'm not so journalistic, but I try to be. It's kind of a local guy, does well and works hard. Out in the San Diego Community College District Area 6, which is Yucaipa, we have James Holbrook and Stephanie Houston and Jack Roberts. Jack Roberts is leading. There's only one office to be elected out of the three. And then James Holbrook is coming in third. Out in the San Diego Community College District Area 4, Donald Singer is coasting in there with 5,000 votes to his closest rival, Sam Irwin, at 3,000 votes. We see also current incumbent of the San Diego Community College District Area 2, Joseph Richard Williams. Joe Williams is winning against his opponent by about 2-1. So congratulations to him. And looking forward to having some results in the Water District and also in the local city council races as I try to configure this interesting website from the Registrar of Voters.
Yeah, it is quite interesting to navigate.
Well, there's so much on it, and they're reporting on so much. And I'm just looking for Yucaipa race here, and of course Yucaipa begins with a Y, so they seem to have lopped it off of at the end of everything, and I've got to go back and configure everything.
Covering some of the rest of the Inland Empire where Mark looks for that. Looks like in the city of Ontario, Paul Leon for mayor is winning that race with 57% of the vote. Over in Rancho Cucamonga, another city here in the Inland Empire that has a mayor race, looks like Dennis L. Michael with 8,000 of the vote, 58% of the vote. So he's doing very good over there as well.
And locally here in our water district, the San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District, Division 5, San Bernardino Valley Municipal Water District, Kenneth Munoz is trailing Paul Keelhold by 5,991 to 3,702. And these are the absentee votes that have been cast.
Did we do Mayor San Bernardino?
We have not done Mayor of San Bernardino.
That's R. Carey Davis is 50% of the vote. It's pretty close. 4,900 votes. 4,700 for John Valdivia.
John Valdivia. And both are Republicans out in that area. So that's an interesting race as well. City of San Bernardino Measure X. Yes, 5,705. To no, 3,793. San Bernardino Measure W is prevailing by about twice as many votes, as well as Measure V, and also Measure U is prevailing there. Looking forward to more results out in the city of Colton and also in Highland as we search for those votes here, and we refer back to the results from the California Secretary of State. So I think we'll go back to the network for a minute.
Yep.
And hear some more about this very historic election nationwide with a huge voter turnout, the largest voter turnout in 20 years. We'll be back on KQLH and KCA right after this.
Don't go away.
What can they learn from this experience tonight?
Well, it's interesting. I had somebody already tell me, and you're going to love this one, Tom. First name I've heard out of the box tonight in the idea that in an era that Gillum and Abrams lose, Steve Bullock, the governor of Montana. Tell us a little bit about Mr. Bullock.
Well, he's been a very skilled man in a very Republican state as a Democrat because he's been able to hold off some of the more extreme ideas of the Montana legislature. He does have ambition. He doesn't have a big, I suppose, itinerary in terms of dealing with foreign policy and dealing with a big economy. It's still a rural state. He's a very attractive guy, and he's been able to survive this very Republican state by holding off some of the most extreme things that they've come up with there. Montana's always been a complicated state, as you know, politically. We'll hear from him. We'll hear from Hickenlooper, who is the outgoing governor of Colorado now. They see this as an opportunity.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll continue our coverage of the Vote for America's Future on NBC after this.
KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, 102.3 FM, and KQLH with election night results and your local election night results with Mr. Lane over there in the control room. I'm Mark Westwood, and we're going to hear some Riverside County.
Breaking news.
Riverside County results from Andrew Caravella.
Finally checking in.
Finally.
The sheriff, that was a very controversial one. It's got a lot of news coverage. Looks like Stan Sniff for Riverside County Sheriff is losing right now. He's a current standing sheriff to Chad Bianco. 73,800 for Chad, 64,000 votes for Stan Sniff. 53% for Chad Bianco so far. He's taken the lead. And it does say 100% is
and Chad Bianco had a huge contingency and a lot of money given to him by the Riverside Sheriff's Association.
Right. So what does that mean when it says online that 100% is checking in, but over here in blue it says 18%?
Okay, 100% of the absentee ballots have been cast. That doesn't mean that all votes have been counted because a lot of people still go to the polls.
So that number, 18%, it could still go either way.
Yeah, it could go either way. Read those results to me again.
Chad Bianco at 53%, Stan Sniff at 46%.
Pretty much that's going to be a definitive marker. When it's that big of a wide of a margin, it's hard to overcome.
Really?
Especially when 70% of the votes were cast by absentee ballot. You'll see some ballots come in that will favor Stan Sniff and some that will favor Chad Bianco. But as of right now, it would probably be pretty easy if you were a nationwide polling service to forecast that Chad Bianco is the winner in that race. And it might go back and forth, which is interesting. A lot of money to sitting incumbent, but at the same time, we've had both of them on our radio station.
That's right.
So, do you have another Riverside County results?
I'm looking for mayors. Looks like well, I guess we could do Coachella. Why not? Coachella mayor. Looks like we have Josie Gonzalez with 23% of the vote, and beating her is that is City Council. Megan Beeman Jacinto at 29%.
Which is interesting because we have a Josie Gonzalez over here in San Bernardino County who's a district supervisor. I want to report the first results on KQLH of the Yucaipa City Council District. We finally were able to get this run down.
Hooray.
On the strange website that was never like this before. David Avila is outdistancing Wyatt Patrick Paget, 635 to 528. With 1,163 absentee voters cast. That's 100% of the ballots have been cast, if you look on the website, but only about 14% of the registered votes that have come in have been counted. So that's an interesting
Mayor of Moreno Valley, because I do know we reach out there on KCAA. 42% of the vote is going to Gutierrez as of right now, 42% of the vote. So,
yeah. And State Assembly in Yucaipa as well. We're bringing that up here. And of course, I love this website. Whoever invented this website needs to go to school. Needs to be schooled a little bit because it is a very awkward, cumbersome website. It's never been that way before. But actually, Chad Mays is beating Denny Manzingo in the San Bernardino portion of this. San Bernardino Community College District, Area 6. Let's see if we can click on that and it pulls anything up. Now the website's not even moving. It's just dead in the water. Let's try it again. District 8, Paul Cook, also affects Yucaipa, and he is winning, outdistancing Tim Donnelly. So the sitting incumbent is outdistancing Tim Donnelly in that race.
I have propositions for you, Mark.
Okay.
All right. Looks like yes on 6. It is passing at this moment. 56% of the vote. No is at 43%.
And that is to repeal the gas tax, correct?
That is to take, to shave that off. Which one was it?
Well, that's Riverside County now. You're reporting statewide results on a county-wide website.
Right.
So you would have to go to the state to really give the listeners a good reflection on that. And of course, we've been battling with that election. There's so much information on these websites. Interestingly enough, the statewide results now are only about 2.8% of the ballots are collected statewide here. And we see Gavin Newsom now has jumped ahead easily above John Cox, who had an early start. Tendency is that the rural districts will collect first and be reporting first because they have fewer votes, and then the higher density of the urban areas start to come in. And we've seen a race that I saw just a few minutes ago. It looked like John Cox was easily beating Gavin Newsom. To now, Gavin Newsom has jumped ahead by 1%.
So it turns out 6 is a no at this moment, according to the state site. Looks like it's only losing by 2,000 votes. 49% to the 50% of no so far.
And again, you're seeing rural results.
No. This is
statewide.
This is statewide.
Yeah, they're still see the state gathers it in from all the counties.
Gotcha.
And so what happens is that as the urban areas start, like the county of San Francisco and the city of San Francisco or Los Angeles or any of those start to pile in, then you start to see substantially different results than you see at the very beginning of the night when you're reporting statewide results. And so the polls have just closed just about a half hour ago. We're seeing results. That's a good thing. But at the same time, we're going to see those results dramatically change. But it's interesting to kind of see the early results.
Yeah, this is like our Super Bowl.
It is.
We have a yes on 7 currently happening through the statewide change daylight savings time period. 62% of the vote to 37%.
You mean we won't have to change the 5,000 clocks in the radio station
What
if
it
that
means
passes?
is if you're streaming us live right now on KCAARadio.com and you look behind us at the clocks, it means that
I'm not touching them now.
That we predicted this was going to happen, so we don't have to change the clocks.
Yes, it's quite well. Half the clocks seem to work on radio, and they update by themselves by radio waves, and then and a couple of clocks don't, and so we have to manually change them. And apparently, I looked at the clocks just before we went on there and said nobody manually changed those clocks. The radio ones changed, so the clocks are just all over the map. Don't look at our clocks at what time it is. Whatever you do.
Another controversial
by Monday, we'll have this fixed.
Proposition number 8, regulating kidney dialysis treatment.
This is one that I was watching because the no people threw a ton of money.
Yeah, well, the no people are winning this right now.
I expected that.
Looks like 35% yes, 64% no.
Yeah. Sometimes a bad cure is not a good cure at all.
Yeah.
To have a cure, and if it's not a good cure, and you're going to choose a bad cure, it's not. I think the people of the state of California said Prop 8 was a bad cure. I voted no on that myself. So.
Yeah, I mean, but that's dramatic. I know it's not a whole lot of people checking in yet, but I mean, 64% say no, only 35% are saying yes.
Right. These are leading indicators. California Secretary of State Alex Padilla is outdistancing Mark Musser now.
Yeah.
And just a few minutes ago, he was losing. And you look at that now, it's 2.9% precincts reporting. And as they come piling in, you start to see those results. And, it's tough to result a half hour after.
I have an update. Prop 6 is now statewide reporting in yes on 6. It's getting intense.
This one is going to be a close one, I think.
Now it's 50.5% are voting yes, 49.5% no. It's literally 483,000 votes to 473,000. So just about 10,000 vote difference at this moment in time.
Another quick update on the lieutenant governor race with 5% of the precincts reporting. Eleni Koulakis is on to a early lead with 58% of the votes. Ed Hernandez at 42.
Man, this is intense.
Yeah, it's going to go back and forth because there's so many people voting. Locally in Yucaipa, we're still seeing the results not change a little bit. Patty Ingram is winning in the Yucaipa school district race. David Avila, the current current councilman, is winning in that council race. And we're seeing Ken Munoz being outdistanced in his race, but that could change, still could change. And those are the 3 races in Yucaipa to report. I don't know that there are any races in Calamasa. I'm going to be looking those up in just a few minutes here. There were some 130 offices on the ballot in San Benito County.
Yeah.
130 offices. Try to report all those in 3 hours is tough, but to take all those results and get them out to you all at one time is very difficult.
We have a
as well.
controversial town or city in San Bernardino County, city of Adelanto. They're the ones that had several visits this year to the city council by the FBI, as well as they're very high up there with their belief in marijuana and using it there in the city. They have their city election happening right now. Stevana Evans, who's the only Democrat and the only black woman running for only woman and black woman. Only African-American and woman. Sorry, I had to put that all in there. And Democrat running for office. She's actually there's 2 positions, and she's one of the 2.
Is she winning?
She is winning.
Good.
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted to say. That's all. Sorry, I didn't know how to say what I needed to say.
Andrew has been on the air for 2.5 hours, so we understand, Andrew.
Usually, I do traffic at the top and the bottom of an hour, 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah, stick with the pro. You'll learn how to do this.
This is too long.
All right, Secretary of State Alex Padilla is winning. An insurance commissioner. Statewide results show that we might not have an all-Democratic sweep this time around. Not Republican, though. No party preference. Steve Poizner, who was a Republican before, let's face it, he jumped off that Republican mantra because he knew he wouldn't win in California.
Yep.
And so he's non-party preference, but he is winning right now with 2.9% of the vote. That could change against Ricardo Lara from Long Beach. Ricardo has 385,000, and Steve Poizner has 536,000. If we see about another 5 to 10% remain the same way, pretty much can call that race for Steve Poizner. Looking at more statewide races in the governor's race. We'll get that back up here in just 1 second. Again, we're learning to navigate these websites and things like that, and they're all different.
I'll
They
be
should
ready.
all be standard.
I'll be ready for 2020.
That's right. Gavin Newsom is winning against John Cox. Not unexpected. 4% of the ballots in right now. He's maintaining less than a 1% lead, though. This is close. This is not that far off. I think a lot of Republicans turned out, especially in San Bernardino County, in Orange County, to vote, and that's affecting the races. And a lot of people don't realize that. They think that, the Northern California or San Diego and Los Angeles or the coastal cities will be calling the races, when indeed they start to have to look inward to the inland valley districts and the inland counties and say, okay, what's happening there? And, for too long they've ignored us. They've ignored us with funding on both sides of the party. And now we're starting to see that those weighing in mean a big difference, because those are the ones that are reporting first, and those are the ones that are being tabulated first. So right now, Gavin Newsom is winning, but that could change very, very easily as the night progresses forward. We've got about another 25 minutes to report. Let's see what the Superintendent of Public Instruction is doing statewide.
Oh, I've been waiting for that one.
Tony Thurmond is losing to Marshall Tuck. This is obviously reporting. We're seeing a high Republican turnout. This is 4% of the ballots being cast, and they're both Democrats, by the way. But the Republicans were tending to favor the guy with charter schools. So
but out of all the precincts, that's only 4%, 970 of 24,312. So, I mean, those numbers really could change completely.
They could. They could. And I'm not arguing with you. Those very much could change as we see what counties report, what cities report, as they start to pile those votes on.
Right.
In the first 45 minutes of the election actually being tabulated, the polls being closed, and the results being, we could see, something change here dramatically. But what we see here, like in the insurance commissioner race I just reported a few minutes ago, it's now 42 to 58%. But Steve Poizner's gone from 520,000 to 630,000, and Ricardo Lara has gone from 300 and some odd thousand to 457,000. So what you see is sometimes the change happens proportionally as well. So you see it kind of lock in a little bit from. It's kind of like doing a poll with a lot of people.
Right.
And so, U.S. Senate. Let's look at that.
Sure.
Look at that.
Why not?
That's a California race. No matter what, we see Dianne Feinstein beating Kevin De Leon 52 to 47%.
Oh.
We see that's pretty substantial there. And, will those numbers change proportionally? We only have 4% as we refresh here and see. I'm going to refresh my computer here as you can keep reporting for me as my computer decides to take a well-deserved break as I've got 17,000 windows open from NBC to Texas to San Bernardino to Riverside County, the California Secretary of State. It's starting to rebel.
All right, let's look at those ballot measures again. Looks like currently Prop 1, 3, 5, 6, 8 and 10 are all no's. Looks like 6 went back to no. But again, this is only 4% of the precincts reporting in. The other ones, 2, 4, 7, 11, and 12, are all yes. One of the ones that has not changed to no is Prop 12. That's a yes on 12 farm animals confinement standards.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. People want, their food not to be contained in cages and being cruel to the animals.
Yeah.
Where you have a chicken that can barely move in a cage, or pigs that can't ever move around. They want free roving or what they call free range animals.
Right.
And that they don't want the animals being cruel to. And so there's this change is a big change on that. So.
No on 10. Another one, rental control on residential properties. Is
it prevailing?
No, it's substantially different. It looks like yeses are at 30%, no 69%.
Okay, get ready for the bump button. Their big slogan was, the rent is too damn high. I think you could say damn. Yeah. Anyway.
You said it twice.
I said it twice, so yeah. And kind of I'm the general manager, so.
So that pretty much means nothing changes. Everything stays the same on Prop 10, right? As far as renting and stuff?
Well, no. If Prop 10 passes, what will happen is that will throw out a particular legislative bill that went through called something Huff bill that said that, for instance, in particular, buildings after 1978 would not fall under rent control. And so, that would be something that, would, keep rent control limited.
Gotcha.
And now rent control can qualify for buildings in other places like that. It empowers local communities to limit skyrocketing rents. So basically, what's good about Prop 10 is that it puts it in the local hands of the local communities, and I think the people favored that. And what was the results on that one again? What was the results on Prop 10? If you
Prop
could remember.
10 is right now no is winning at 68.1%.
Yeah.
On my end, it's about 2% reporting, but I haven't refreshed in about a minute or two.
What about Prop 11? Prop 11 confused a lot of people. That was about the ambulances and the emergency responders.
Yeah. If I remember correctly. Oh, I have the LA Times article right here. Here we go.
It's not about yeah.
All right. This one is about the rest breaks for ambulance workers. Pretty much, a California Supreme Court is ruling that in 2016, it set the stage for this proposal in an effort that would require ambulance crews to be on call through their rest and meal breaks. That system existed before the court ruled it illegal. Prop 11, which was placed on the ballot by one of the nation's largest ambulance providers, says different. Supporters argue that mandatory rest breaks will unfairly raise costs for the industry and possibly lead to cutbacks in available
Do we have some results on Prop 11? We're all looking for that one.
I have right now Prop 11, yes, is winning currently at 62.8% versus no, 37.2%. That's with 3% of the precincts reporting.
Yeah, there's been a lot of money spent on that by AMR, and it's kind of debatable what was good about that and what wasn't bad about that. The Democrats didn't favor that. They wanted that a no vote, and I think that was a lot of the unions and the EMT and the EA emergency people.
Well, one of the people that were talking about this, and I can't remember the lady's name, said pretty much in a nutshell, if they have these rest breaks, that means when they go on their lunches, they have to, by law, turn off their radios, by law. So if there's an emergency within the area, then they can't respond to it.
Well, see, what happens is that there's plenty of employees with these ambulance companies, but they don't want to staff them. And so the argument of that is that they should staff so that they can send their employees on break.
Right.
Just like every other business does.
Right, so if they go on break, someone else comes on.
Right. But if you're keeping, your minimal skeletal staff, then you can't do that. And so AMR didn't want to do that because, of course, it's a huge company. And what happens when you have these big companies like that is what tends to happen is it costs a lot more money to do that and put people on break when a local company wouldn't.
So they're saying that the other controversy to this particular prop is security guards as well, like armed and non-armed and stuff. Once it's time for their break, they go on break. And if something happens, some emergency or some break-in while they're on break legally, they can't do anything about it.
So we got about 15 more minutes to report some of these propositions. What about Prop 1, Nick? Did you have some results on Prop 1? Because he's been our prop man here. He's got the prop man, Nick.
The prop man.
I like it. I'll make a T-shirt with that. Proposition 1, the housing assistance bonds.
For veterans, For
veterans. Right
Seniors,
now,
homeless.
no is prevailing. 50.7% though. So it's really, really close. Yes is at 49.3%.
Yeah. And of course, we're still at about 4% of everything reporting.
Yeah, so that's going to be one that's going to flip-flop numerous times over the next few hours.
Proposition 2 delivers housing with mental health services to alleviate chronic homelessness without raising taxes, it says.
Yep.
I don't know on Prop 2, you have the props in front of you, Prop Man?
I do. Prop 2, mental illness housing bond. That is, right now, yes is winning 56.5% of the votes versus no 43.5%.
Yeah. And Prop 4, another kind of spending bill here. 70% of the state budget, by the way, was done at the ballot box, which is kind of reason why propositions might be something we need to get away from. Provides special care for 2 million seriously ill or injured kids a year, regardless of family income. What is Prop 4 winding up being?
This is As I suspected, I never saw a no on 4 ad. I saw plenty of yes on 4. They threw out money in full force with this one. 55.8% in favor of yes right now.
And then, of course, Prop 5 takes up to $2 billion per year from schools and local services to give tax advantage to the wealthiest property owners. I don't know how that was written. I guess that was written. I was reading the summary by no. But it's something about schools and local services. Prop 5, I'm going to have to get a better definition of that. How is Prop 5 coming out?
No is winning currently on Prop 5, 56.8%.
And do we have an update on Prop 6? That's the most well-known one.
It's no again.
It is still, it is no once again.
Okay.
By the way, the precincts are jumping up. It went from 5 to 10% in just 2 minutes. So 10% of the precincts are reporting now. So it's going quicker. Let's see how the governor's race.
And you know, when we first started this, Andrew, remember I said it's going to change rapidly.
It's changing rapidly.
And in the governor's race, it looked like John Cox was winning, and I said that's got to be the rural states, rural counties reporting.
Right.
Well, Gavin Newsom is now outdistancing John Cox significantly, 55 to 44%.
Yeah.
And I knew that was going to be the case.
It's like you've done this before, Mark.
Yeah. A lot.
It's as if you're into politics or something.
Yeah.
Or that I know a little bit about it, and then you know,
just a little.
I do host a political show and things like that.
Is that what that
but
is?
you know, let's.
I thought it was a cooking and lifestyle show.
Yeah, you know, guys, you still work for me. Ed Hernandez is still trailing Alina Kunalakis. You want to help me out here, Nick?
It is Eleni Kunalakis.
God, if she's lieutenant governor, it's going to be 4 years. I can't pronounce her name.
You're just going to have to look in the mirror and just pronounce it over and over again.
Yeah, we should book her for your show. That would be
Alina K. Yes.
There you go.
Alina K.
Feinstein's killing it right now. 54 to De Leon's 45%.
I knew that was going to be the case. It is just amazing what that woman does. She's just incredible.
Got egg on your face yet, Andrew?
Yeah. Well,
he said that Feinstein was going to lose.
I said some things off air, but that's good. Obviously, the California.
I should have bet you.
She would whoop me. Obviously, the California people want her. So, I mean, it's obvious.
It is an interesting thing. She has a lot of support in Northern California, especially as she was the person on the steps with Harvey Milk when Harvey Milk was assassinated.
They also say she's the oldest. Like, she's had a Senate position longer than anybody else currently.
And, you know, in the primary, before the primary at the Democratic Convention, which I was there, it looked like she was in trouble. And, you know, Kevin De Leon was, you know, and I know Kevin, he's a nice guy, and he was highly favored. People were saying it was time for a change. That all shifted after the Brett Kavanaugh hearings when Dianne Feinstein took the lead on that. And so Dianne Feinstein is just whooping Kevin's. Anyway, I hate to put it that way because Kevin's a nice guy, but it's just amazing. When she had 31 people running against her in the primary, she still came up with 41%. State Controller, let's see, Betty Yee is coming out about 1,300,000 against. Here we go, another one, Konstantinos Roditis. It sounds like.
I can't help you with that one.
Yeah. Is there a salve for that? God, I'm so sorry. Konstantinos Roditis. You have Konstantinos Roditis. Eat more fiber. It's getting late, folks. Okay, that's all I can say. Anyway, I'm sorry. I apologize to the gentleman there. Secretary of State Alex Padilla is now outdistancing Mark Musser as expected. 58 to 42%. The Democrats are staying pretty much in control of statewide offices as we go through here. Treasurer Fiona Ma is now 57% to 42%. Greg Conlon. And then Attorney General, we're looking at Xavier Becerra winning easily against Stephen Bailey. Insurance Commissioner, now let's see how this has changed. Steve Poizner, no party preference, is still beating Ricardo Lara, 53 to 46%, and that's about 400,000 votes have been cast there. Superintendent of Public Instructions, let's see how this is changing. Nope, we still have Marshall Tuck, 1,068,000 votes to Tony Thurman, who's just about 950,000, 960,000 votes there. We already reported on that, and we reported on the state ballot measures. Let's go back to some local things here.
Well, back in Riverside County, it looks like Chad Bianco is still holding that lead above Stan Sniff, current sheriff, 53% of the vote to Stan Sniff's 46%.
46% of the vote. Yes, very interesting. In the city of Redlands, let's do Redlands City Council. We haven't reported on that yet.
Yeah.
And in Redlands City Council, Tony Momberger is beating Michael Tenyek and Brian Segers. Tony is currently a city council person, was appointed after the death of a city council member. She is winning easily with 4,000 to about 1,500 votes, her closest rival there. Looking at other City of Redlands council races here, as I have to...
District 5, City Council for Redlands Foster's beating out Johnson, 65%.
Yes, Foster is the current one. And we have one more to look at, and that would be the race where Mike Safey is in.
Yeah, Mike Safey. That's District 3. It's not doing so well. Paul Barich, 49% of the vote.
Against
Mike Safey, Enrique Estrada, and Joe Richardson. Joe Richardson is the second, 26%.
Okay. And in 72 Community College District, Redlands resident Donald Singer is easily outdistancing his opponent Sam Irwin by about 3-1. And in Area 6, we see Jack Roberts beating James Holbrook and Stephanie Houston. And then... looking further into Yucaipa, we still see that Patty Ingram is the definitive winner there. And also, we also see the Water District race here. In just a few minutes, I will give you some more information about that. Reporting more races in the area for Fontana, San Bernardino Community College District, Fontana Unified School District. Let's look at the Fontana Unified School District for a moment. In the Fontana Unified School District, we have Adam Perez, Mary Sandoval, and Mars Cerna winning that against Kareem Gongora and Matt Slowick and Anahi Amarada. So those are some pretty definitive races there. Also, in the Hesperia School District, we have Mark Dundon winning against Elisa Aguilar.
Yeah.
Why don't I go to the Victorville City Council race here? Just for a minute.
It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Looks like Negretti's going to hold his seat. And there's a new council member because I believe Kennedy is retiring. I'm trying to find it.
Yeah. We have about
Deborah Jones. Deborah Jones is her name.
Deborah Jones. So there's no Rita Ramirez winning in the city of Victorville?
No, Rita only has 12% of the votes. Deborah's 17, and Eric Negretti's the 16%.
Rita Ramirez Dean losing another election.
Yeah. However, Lizette Angulo, who was endorsed by the Democratic Party, beat out Rita by 13%.
Yes. So Rita's at the bottom of the pile there. She didn't win for Congress. She didn't win for Victorville City Council. Yeah. She didn't win in the 31st District. She doesn't win anywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's an interesting perennial candidate. It's pretty much getting put away here. We've been covering all district races in the governor's race, in presidential races. Not presidential races. That was President Trump.
That'll be in 2 years. That'll be 2 years.
That's 2 years from now, but he was on the ballot
his
today.
His ads were so convincing, you thought for a second he was on.
Absolutely. He was on the ballot. And you know what? I think the people of the United States have spoken very clearly by giving us a definitive lead in the Congress and not near even a supermajority in the state Senate. And this being said, you know, the way it's set up now, he's going to have a tough time.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of senators now that are going to cave that were otherwise afraid when we had this supermajority in the Senate and in the Congress and the United States Supreme Court and in the executive branch. We've got a little check and balance going on here, a little more health to our
without a
system.
doubt.
I think that's a good thing. There's a lot of candidates and a lot more races and a lot more to report, and we'll have more information as the evening progresses in our news reports, and we are going to retire our election coverage at this time. Thank you, Andrew Caravella.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, Nick Lane.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us,
Rick
everyone.
Rule, helping us engineer in the background.
Rick Rule.
Rick Rules. And KQLH 92.5, 102.3 FM, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Thanks to Fred Lundgren. This is your NBC radio station, locally and in Southern California. We are KCAA. And our cousin station, KQLH 92.5 LPFM, will return with the music of Main Street in just moments. I'm Mark Westwood. Thank you.
Wave if you don't win Indiana. What it is a suburban takeover by the Democratic Party.
All right, Lester, that's the scene from over here.
All right, we want to look at the scene in Arizona right now. We saw Jeff Flake on our air a little while ago, the two women who were competing for his seat. Martha McSally, the Republican. We're going to go to her headquarters right now. I think Von Hilliard is there for us.
Lester, the reality here in this Senate race out here is that we may not know the result of this at this point all the way until Thursday night. Right now, Martha McSally is leading with about 57% of the ballots being counted. But I want to point to Maricopa County specifically. This is the county which is the greater Phoenix area. It makes up more than 50% of the electorate. And right now, Kyrsten Sinema, she holds just a 0.6 percentage point lead. Why is that significant? Usually with Maricopa County goes the rest of the state. Back in 2016, Donald Trump won the state of Arizona by just 4 percentage points, but Maricopa County specifically, he won by 3.5 percentage points. Now, why will this come down to Thursday night? The reality is about 5 to 10% of the vote will not be counted today. And it will not be
Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM.